Hello everyone, welcome back to English Building Blocks. It's good to be back. So each and every, right? Two very similar words because they have the same meaning, right? However, they have some subtle differences. So let's have a look. Firstly, each and every are both used when referring to a complete group of people or things, okay? But on the one hand, we use each when we want to remark those people or things individually. We want to see those people or things as individuals within one big group, okay? For example, each student has to come up with a good idea. So here, each student individually has to find a good idea, and each student of the class as a group has the same task, okay? On the other hand, when using every referring to a complete group, then we want to emphasize just that. We want to emphasize the complete group, okay? For example, every student has to come up with a good idea. So maybe in this case, the class as a group has one project and every student has to participate in benefit of the group, remarking the group as a whole, okay? As a first observation, when we use each or every, then we use these as a third person singular, okay? And this means that when using the present simple or the present perfect, that you need to be careful because you have to conjugate the verb in the third person singular, okay? As we have seen in the previous examples, each or every student has to come up with a good idea. So you see, we conjugate the verb in the third person singular. Now, when talking about objects, and there are only two of those objects, for example, hands, ears, eyes, right? We only have two hands, two ears, two eyes. In such case, we can only use each. We cannot use every, okay? For example, I have broken each hand once, okay? I only have two hands, so I have to use each. And now let's talk about everyone and everyone. Obviously, there isn't a big difference. And again, it's all about emphasis. When using everyone as a compound, so the word is written together, it is one word, okay? Then you're referring to a complete group, a group as a whole, okay? For example, everyone has to arrive by 8 o'clock. So the whole group, the complete group, has to be there by 8 o'clock. You're not referring to any individuals, you're just referring to a complete group. On the other hand, when using everyone, so in this case written in two words, written separately, you want to emphasize the individual. For example, everyone has to arrive by 8 o'clock. So here you want to emphasize that each individual has that responsibility, okay? So using everyone in two separate words, you want to remark the individual. Now, you may have noticed that we do pronounce them slightly differently. When we use everyone written together, then we don't give it any extra emphasis. Everyone has to arrive by 8 o'clock, so we don't give it any extra emphasis, right? But on the other hand, when using everyone written separately, then we do give it extra emphasis. Everyone has to arrive by 8 o'clock. Okay, so we give it extra emphasis, and that as well as a consequence gives it a more serious connotation. Now, before we start talking about plural nouns, remember, if you like this video, subscribe please, okay, or just click that notification bell, alright? Now, let's move on. So, normally, when using each or every, they are followed by a singular noun, okay? For example, each neighbor or every neighbor, right? Each cat or every cat. Each house or every house. So you see, every time it is followed by a singular noun. And again, that's why when using the present simple, you conjugate it in the third person singular, okay? However, there is a way to use plural nouns, but in such case, you'll have to modify a little bit the expressions. So let's begin with each first. So when you use the expression each of, then possibly this is followed by a plural noun. For example, each of the owners has their own responsibility. So you see, we use the expression each of followed by a plural noun, owners. Okay, now remember, this is still third person singular, and that's why we say each of the owners has their own responsibility. And now every with plural nouns. When using the expression every one of, and remember every one is written separately, you can use plural nouns, okay? For example, every one of the workers has called in sick today. So you see, we use the expression every one of followed by the plural noun, the workers, okay? But remember, it is still third person singular. Do not forget this, okay? Now, it's also important to clarify when using these expressions each of or every one of followed by that plural noun that we use the definite article the, like we have seen in the examples. Each of the owners or every one of the workers, right? So in both cases you have seen that we use that definite article the preceding the plural noun. However, it's also possible not to use that definite article the when using or a determiner on the one hand or a pronoun of some kind on the other hand. Okay, for example, each of those shoes is smelly. So in this case, we use the determiner those, which means that you don't use the definite article the. Okay, another example. Every one of my friends has gone to a concert. Okay, so in this case, we use the possessive adjective my, which implies that you don't use that definite article the. Okay, and last example, each of us is going to bring a cake. Okay, in this case, we use the object pronoun us, which implies that you don't use the definite article the. And now some observations. Firstly, when using an expression of time, it's a lot more common to use every, okay? Is it wrong to use each? No, it isn't. Does it sound natural to use each? No. The natural one is every, because it's just a lot more common, okay? For example, I go to the gym every Monday. So you see, we use every followed by the expression of time Monday. Could I say each Monday? Yes, you could. Does it sound natural? No, it doesn't. It's just a lot more common to use every with those expressions of time, okay? Another observation, when using adverbs like almost, nearly, or practically, then you have to use the quantifier every. You cannot use each. For example, almost every student has passed the exam. So as we're using the adverb almost, we need to use every. Almost every student. We cannot use each. And the last observation, we can also use the expression each and every together to give extra emphasis. For example, each and every dish was delicious. So you see, we use the expression each and every together to give extra emphasis. Now, we can also use this with plural nouns, but then the expression is each and every one of. Okay, for example, each and every one of my workers is up to the task. So you see, we use here the expression each and every one of, followed by a plural noun to give extra emphasis. As you know, I like to finish with some exercises so you get some practice, in this case using each and every. Okay, so I'll give you a sentence omitting that quantifier each or every, and you decide what the correct answer is. I'll give you some time, or if you want, you just pause the video a little bit. Okay, now first example, I have watched almost quantifier episode. Now the correct answer is I have watched almost every episode. Okay, now as we are using that adverb almost, we need to use every. We cannot use each. Okay, next exercise, they should remodel quantifier of the rooms. And the correct answer is they should remodel each of the rooms. So here we're using the expression each of, followed by the plural noun rooms. Sentence number 3. I know there are a lot, but quantifier dog has to be vaccinated for rabies. And the correct answer is every dog has to be vaccinated for rabies. Now here we want to focus on the group, the complete group. We don't want to remark the individual. No, we want to give emphasis to the group, and that's why we use every. Next sentence, I have an evening class, quantifier Thursday. The correct answer is I have an evening class every Thursday. As we're using here the time expression Thursday, it just sounds a lot more natural and common to use every. Okay? Sentence number 5. She's got a piercing in quantifier ear. And the correct answer is she's got a piercing in each ear. As we are talking here about ears and we only have 2, right, then we have to use the quantifier each. We cannot use every. Exercise number 6. He talked to quantifier one of the customers. And the correct answer is he talked to every one of the customers. So in this case, we use the expression every one of, followed by a plural noun. And the last exercise, I talked to quantifier worker one by one to explain the problem. And the correct answer is I talked to each worker one by one to explain the problem, because although I talked to everybody, I did so in an individual manner. I talked to each worker individually. I'm emphasizing here the individual, and that's why I use each. Okay, and that is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if so, subscribe click the notification bell, give a thumbs up, or just leave a comment down below. Okay, so once again, thank you for watching. Till next time, bye bye.